There is no more noble sacrifice than laying down your life in the service of others. Every year, more than 1 million law enforcement officers work to keep our country safe and to serve the needs of our communities. Our law enforcement officers put their lives on the line as they fight crime. And each year, law enforcement officers die in the line of duty. Many of these deaths occur while these officers are investigating crimes and enforcing our laws. Some are even the result of targeted violence against police officers. Others' deaths involve tragic accidents, like Sheriff Deputy Julie Bridges and Sergeant Joseph Usman, two police officers who were killed in a traffic accident while working to help their communities weather the onslaught of Hurricane Irma. On Friday, I spoke at the Iowa Peace Officers Memorial Ceremony in Des Moines, where we honored 6 law enforcement officers from Iowa who lost their lives in the line of duty. It was my honor to pay tribute to these brave Iowa heroes along with their families. Losing members of our law enforcement leave a hole in families and communities that no one else can fill. But we can honor them and remember them and work to support the efforts of other law enforcement officers who carry on their mission. Officers who, despite the risk and the rigors of their work tirelessly to protect and serve their communities. Yesterday, in the memory of those who have fallen in the line of duty over the past year, I was proud to introduce a resolution designating this week National Police Week. This resolution is co-sponsored by 76 of my Senate colleagues. I am also working to clear the Project Safe Neighborhood Grant Program Authorization Act through my Judiciary Committee so that the bill can be sent to the floor for consideration of the full Senate. This bill authorizes a nationwide partnership between federal, state, and local law enforcement and prosecutors dedicated to the reduction of violent crime. This partnership will use evidence-based and data-driven approaches to policing. It emphasizes initiatives designed to build trust and collaboration with community leaders and organizations addressing violent crime. A companion bill is working its way through the House of Representatives. I look forward to voting to support it. In addition, I've been a long-standing supporter of the Public Safety Officers Benefit Program, which provides death and education benefits to survivors of fallen law enforcement officers, firefighters, and other first responders, and it also includes disability benefits to officers catastrophically injured in the line of duty. I introduced a bill to strengthen the Public Safety Officers Benefit Program, and that bill was signed into law last year. And we've worked hard on oversight efforts of this program to make sure that beneficiaries' claims don't linger forever, but are paid out timely. Today, as I stand here on the Senate floor, my thoughts turn to my own home state of Iowa, where on March the 1st, 2017, Sheriff Deputy Mark Burbridge went to work for his employer, Pottawatomie County. He and fellow Deputy Pat Morgan were assigned to transport a man to prison who had just been sentenced to 45 years for voluntary manslaughter. On the way from the court to the prison, the prisoner assaulted Deputy Burbridge. With a homemade knife, grabbed one of the deputy's guns and shot both deputies. Deputy Morgan was seriously wounded in the attack. Deputy Burbridge was critically injured and died an hour later. The prisoner fled the scene, making it as far as Nebraska. Other brave law enforcement officials tracked him down, brought him to justice. Deputy Burbridge was a family man who loved to work on cars and motorcycles, also to fish and to tell jokes. He is survived by his wife Jessica, daughter Carly, son Caleb, and stepdaughter Kelsey Brandt. We mourn his loss and remember his legacy of sacrifice and service this week. Our law enforcement officers in Iowa deal with many of the same problems facing law enforcement officers throughout the United States. They work every day to stop violent crime, and they are on the front line of the fight against illegal drugs and the opiate addiction crisis every state faces. To help law enforcement officers in Iowa and in the rest of the country, we need to optimize our justice system so it puts resources where they are needed most. Law enforcement should target the worst offenders, like violent criminals, major drug traffickers, and criminal masterminds. And we should do more to help those who have done their time re-enter society in productive ways so that they don't backslide back into the life of crime. A bill I introduced this Congress, the Sentencing Reform and Corrections Act, just does that. And I appreciate Senator Durbin's standing with me on the introduction of that, and so it's a vastly bipartisan bill to improve fairness in sentencing while permitting law enforcement to devote resources to tackling their top priorities. It also increases incentives for criminals to cooperate with police and to put into place tougher criminal penalties for fentanyl distribution, for crimes of terrorism, and crimes of domestic violence. In addition, the Grassley-Durbin bill provides for recidivism reduction programs to prepare inmates to leave prison and live a productive, law-abiding life. On that point, I give particular credit to Senator Cornyn and Senator Whitehouse for their work on that part of the bill. Similar sentencing and prison reform initiatives at the state level have closed prisons, reduced crime, and increased public safety. On a final note, I'd like to take a moment to thank the Capitol Police who serve right here in the halls of Congress, the President and the Vice President, Cabinet Secretaries, and thousands of visitors from around the country visit the Senate every year. We senators come and go several times a day with our staff. It's easy to take our feelings of safety and security for granted in this Capitol complex, but we're able to carry out our duties because of the continued hard work of these Capitol Hill police officers. So thank you to the Capitol Police for your dedication and your service. Our law enforcement officers deserve our respect, surely our support, and our admiration for them putting their lives on the line. We honor all law enforcement officers this week, especially those who died in the line of duty in the past year. We thank their families for their sacrifice, and we will remember the values of public service, of diligence, and the bravery that they stood for. I yield the floor and suggest the absence of a quorum.